It's time to find out what's cooking. Here now is the head chef of the Pemberton Township High School Food Service Program and your host, Tim Paroli.
Hello, welcome once again to What's Cooking. I'm Tim Paroli. Today we're going to show you some dishes that are seasonal, unusual, and even classical in their preparation. For us, they may be very unusual, but for some of the cultures from which they're from, they're very commonplace. The type of foods that we're talking about today are artichokes and frog legs. I've taken these two unusual combinations and we're going to put them together for you to make a very nice platter. But what we're going to also show you is there are many different ways to prepare both of these food items. The first one we're going to show you is the artichoke. And I said at the top of the show here that they are seasonal. So if you're going to try an artichoke, be sure to try them now while they're inexpensive and plentiful. Because if you wait till the end of the season, not only will the price be higher, but also the quality may suffer. So right now is a good time to try this. And all you have to have are some artichokes, water, salt, milk, salt and pepper, and butter. And we're going to show you how we are going to just take these artichokes and trim them. And then we're going to show you how to cook them in everything but the butter, because you can use the butter when you're going to eat the artichoke. So we're going to saute some butter with some fresh garlic and put that over and show you a little bit of a presentation for a whole artichoke. It's also good with hollandaise sauce or mayonnaise. And then we're going to remove the choke and we're going to show you how to prepare them so that they can either be stuffed or baked or used just the way they are. What I have here in front of me are artichokes. Now, depending upon where you go will determine the price of the artichokes. However, whatever you're going to pay for the artichokes, make sure that they have this type of a look to them. You want them to be squeak a little bit when you squeeze the leaves. You want them to be predominantly green like these are. This little bit of brown on the edges from after it's been cut and being handled, they will bruise fairly easily. The bottoms of them will be a little dark if they've been cut, but that stem should still be fairly firm. It should be like a carrot. And as long as that's pretty firm like that, and the choke itself is nice and dry, you've got a good artichoke. Now what will determine the price, aside from the amount of them that are available, will be the size. Now artichokes this size are very nice to enjoy just the way they are, whereas the smaller ones are good for just using the hearts for stuffing. So we're going to show you how to set them up, and I'm going to show you about the easiest way that I know how to handle these. And the first thing that we're going to do is take off the bottoms of the artichoke. We're going to cut this stem right off, but I'm not going to cut it off right where we can see the bottom of it. What we're going to do, instead of cutting it here, we're going to take it up about 1/2 an inch from where the bottom is. So we go up about 1/2 an inch, and they're a little tough to cut when you're cutting through those outer leaves. And we get through those. And what you should be left with should be the bottom of the artichoke. You should be able to see that it's white and it will have a pulpy kind of a center to it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut the other end off. Now this is the end that is very sticky, so we want to take them off and we're going to cut them just to cut those ends off, and we should be able to look down inside the artichoke just like that. And then we're going to take them over to a pot with some salt and water and a little bit of milk in there. So we're going to cut that other one and you'll be all set. So we take the bottom off of it, about 1/2 an inch up. Okay, now they should be nice and firm like that. We're going to discard the bottom because they're kind of bitter and tough. And then we're going to take the top off, because the way we're going to show you to serve these two that we're going to cook today, you would eat the entire artichoke, all but the center part. And we're going to show you that in a few minutes. And then we take the top off. Now once they're all off, that's all we have to do to these. So we're going to move them right over here, and we're going to put them into this pot that I have now. Now this is warm water. We're going to add a little bit of milk to it. Now the reason we want to add the milk to it is, if you can see the difference between the one I cut first and the one I just cut now, you can see already how quickly that's turning dark. So we put a little bit of milk in the water and some salt. And then all we're going to do is boil these. Now, the amount of water is not real important. If you don't have a lot of water, then you can just steam them off. But in they go. And they're going to float a little bit, but I'm not concerned with that because we're not going to eat any of these upper parts on these. What we're going to do with them is we're only interested in the bottom half of this artichoke. And once I take one apart for you, you're going to see what I'm talking about. So we're going to just set a pan right on there right now, and we're going to just lower that fire a little bit, and I'm going to let those cook. Now, over here in this pan, I have chokes that are finished, but these have been cooled down because we're going to use these so that you can see once they're cooked the different ways that you can handle them. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to take two of them out. We'll put this underneath, and I'm going to take a spoon, and if we were going to use these where we're going to just look for an artichoke that we want to stuff, all of these leaves have to come off. Now, if you've eaten artichokes, you're thinking right now, my God, he's throwing away all the good stuff on it. Well, if you're after just the heart, then that's exactly what I'm doing. We're getting rid of a lot of good artichoke here. But if you're making a type of a dish where you need that center, let me just pull this apart very slowly so you can see what happens to this. If you look right here where this purple center is, what you'll notice is that they look like spines on the end. Now be careful because they are spines and they will stick you. If they're cooked all the way, it'll be much more tender than it was in the beginning. Just pinch that together. I'll turn sideways so you can see. And I'm just going to pull that off of there. All right, now those last leaves come off. They're still leaves. Now we're left with the choke. Now this choke part is kind of a yellow, cottony substance on the inside. And you can't eat that. You can try, but I don't think you're going to make it. It's very, very dry and very, very cottony. And these little spines on here, you'll see them on the end of the spoon as I turn it. The spines there will stick you again. So we want to just kind of scrape them out of there. I'll break this one in half so we can clean this one. And now we'll have an artichoke heart. And when you are going to use a recipe that calls for artichokes, what they're going to want you to use is the artichoke heart. So if you have a recipe for an artichoke salad and you don't want to use a canned artichoke, you want to try the fresh artichokes, just take the artichokes, clean them the way we showed you today. You can enjoy the leaves while you're working on them. And then once they've cooled down, you just take this right out and you have all that nice meaty artichoke there. And we have all that center right there. Now that is for restaurant commercial preparation. This would be the edible portion that we would get from an artichoke. So now you get an idea why when you order artichokes they're so expensive. So I want to just show you that once more. When they're finished, this will be very, very tender and very, very soft, these leaves. Now if you were going to eat these, and we're going to show you that at the end of the program, how to set this artichoke up if you were going to eat just the artichoke itself. You would cook them the same way so the preparation wouldn't change. So all these big leaves I'm going to hang on to now. And they're going to go right under here. And then we're going to take this one now and just remove that again so that I have another artichoke heart. Now once these are cooked, these artichoke hearts are very good pickled. They're very good cut up and used in a salad. And they're also very good once you slice them up. You can add them to any of the dishes that you've seen here on the program where we have a sautéed item. All you have to do is take these artichokes, and since they're already cooked, you would just add them to any of the dishes right at the end of the show. So here we go. We just scrape that right out of there. And now we have our artichoke centers, and we're all set with them. And as far as the way, once these are prepared, if you were to have on a small plate, if you're going to serve just an artichoke heart, these make a very nice appetizer. You take them apart the way we're taking them apart, clean them all up, and you put 3 or 4 pieces of the artichoke on a plate with a slice of romaine or even a Bibb lettuce, which is a very, very tender lettuce, underneath that, and you'll find that these are very, very nice, sautéed hot with some butter and some garlic. So here's our edible portion there. And I'm going to just move that right out of the way, and we're going to clean this up. And now we're all set. Now we're going to look in on our artichokes and see how they're cooking. There's many other ways to prepare them, but the biggest thing to remember is that all we're after is the center part. Remember that. We're cooking it for the heart, the choke that's on the bottom, and I'm going to turn them over, and I just want to show you that that little bit of milk in there will keep them nice and white. Okay. Now this one was the one that was starting to turn really, really, really dark, and you can see that the meat on those is staying nice and white, and that little spot here in the center is the bottom of that other choke, so we don't have to worry about that at all. And all we have in there right now for flavor is a little bit of salt. Now we're going to put a little pepper in there, because these are the two that we're going to serve up as an artichoke if it was going to be just served as a side dish or as a vegetable all by itself and eaten whole. Okay, and our water's beginning to boil, so now we can let that simmer just a little bit, and they're going to be all ready to go. So the artichoke is very, very simple to do. All you have to remember is to cut the top, cut the bottom, a little bit of milk, and we're all set to go. So we're going to let these cook a little bit, and I'm going to clean up the little bit of mess I have ready to get ready to show you some frog legs. But I'd like to remind you folks at home, if you'd like a recipe or you have a question that you would like to have answered, send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to What's Cooking, care of Channel 15, PTHS number 2, Arnie's Mount Road, Pemberton, New Jersey, and the zip code is 08068.
The floral arrangements seen on the set of What's Cooking are provided by the Cranberry Blossom Floral Company, 120 Hanover Street in Pemberton, New Jersey. The Cranberry Blossom Floral Company specializes in flowers for all occasions, including those special designs for parties and weddings. That's the Cranberry Blossom Floral Company, your FTD florist in Pemberton, New Jersey. Call area 609-894-8080.
This is ID Romeo 511 unknown.
Scramble, Lima Kilo 0102.
Active Air Scramble, Lima Kilo 1, Lima Kilo 2.
390, Romeo Lima.
In the Air Force, it takes a special kind of training and dedication to make this happen. Find out how you can be part of it. Air Force, the first step to your future.
Well, we're back, and I want you to take a good look at those artichokes because they're very, very tender now. And you can see that we just squeeze them together, and that lets you know that they're done. So I can't give you a time on how to cook them because the more artichokes, the longer it's going to take. So you just want to cook them till you can squeeze them, and they're really, really tender. So we're going to take them off of the fire now, and we're going to show you the recipe for frog legs. Now, the frog legs we're going to show you today is a very classical preparation of Provençal. Now, the frog legs originally, one of the first books that I ever read about frog legs was written in the early 1900s, and the first step was to be sure your frog legs were fresh, and it had a little note at the bottom of the page and said to sprinkle salt on them, and if they moved, they were fresh. Well, now we don't have to worry because we can get them in frozen, and we know that they're fresh. So if you've got the legs, you're all set, and all you're going to need with that is the milk, flour, oil, garlic. Tomatoes are optional. They're not called for, but they go very well with this dish. Some white wine, salt, and pepper. And what we're going to do is we're going to split the legs, and we're going to put them in some milk. Then we're going to flour them, saute them just till they're done. Then we're going to remove them from the pan. We're going to brown the garlic and add all the other ingredients to that. So we're going to return the legs afterwards just so that they get a little bit of the sauce over them. So the first thing we're going to do is show you the legs and how to cut them up and get them ready. Now, all we're going to do, the legs come in pairs. They're not too hard to get. The size, however, is the only thing that will differ. Legs, when you buy them commercially, you buy them like you buy shrimp. They can be frozen, and they'll be in boxes, and you'll buy them by size. This size here are jumbos, and they're very nice because The leg itself, the bone is very, very tiny. If you look, there's just a little tiny white line through here, and that's all the bone that's on them. The rest of the muscle on there is all edible portions, so it's going to be a very nice dish. And what we can do with these is we'll split these, and we're going to just put them right in a container, and we're going to put a little milk over them. And then while they're soaking in the milk, we'll be all ready to go. Do one more so we have enough of them. The reason I tell you about the size is because the amount of legs that I have here today was purchased for $5, and there's quite a lot here. They'll serve 3 or 4 people. We can use this amount of legs, so that they're not as expensive as most of us originally believe that they are, especially when they're around. Usually when they're around, one of your purveyors may have a whole case of them that they want to move. So buy them when you see them, because I don't know what the price will be like on them later on. All right, so we're going to let them soak for a moment, and they go right over there. And we're going to take some garlic, and we're going to crack a bulb of garlic. Now, when you're reading recipes, they'll tell you one of 2 things. Either you need a clove of garlic or you need a bulb of garlic. This is the bulb of garlic. So what we want to do with this is break that apart. And the easiest way, since we're going to be using a lot of it today, is just to take that, and you can either hold the knife like this and hit it with the handle, and that breaks all the garlic up. All right, so once we have all that garlic broken up, all I'm going to take out of it is the bottom piece, and all that comes off, and what we have left are cloves of garlic. Then we just take those cloves of garlic and we leave them right in the towel, and we're going to just hit them. That's why I got them in a towel so they don't all run away. There we go. Now once they're all hit, we're going to just pick them right off of the towel, because there's nothing worse than getting these little flakes of the garlic skin in there, and you'll see that they peel very easily. So I already have my garlic and I'm all set. So we don't have to waste a lot of time in peeling garlic. And here's one right there, another one right there, and one left for the choke. We're all set. And I'll put them out of the way. And that's my towel full of garlic. And now, in order to cut this garlic nice and small, we're going to take some oil. And I'm going to put a little puddle of oil down on the board, right on the clove of the garlic. Because most of us, when we're working with it, we have such a small amount, most of it ends up on the knife. However, when you put a little puddle of oil down, it's not going to stick to the knife. There we go. And then we just cut that, and we keep that right in that puddle of oil. Now the reason we want to do this is so that we get it nice and small. Nothing is worse than when you're enjoying a sauteed dish that has garlic in it, and you end up crunching down on a big hunk of garlic. The other reason that we want to cut this all up nice and small is so that we get all these pieces uniform, so that they'll all cook in the same amount of time. So we're already there. We're going to put our saute pan on the fire, and we'll turn the fire up, and we're going to start him off with a little bit of olive oil. And then I take the flour, and we're going to lift the legs out, and we're going to just drain them right off of there. And there we have one order. We just roll those legs in there. And in they go. Now, while they're cooking, what I'm going to do is I'm going to season them just a little bit right now, because I want some of the seasoning to be on those. So we're going to put some of the white pepper in there, and we're going to put some salt on them. And these can brown, so they can work right there. We're going to take a tomato and cut up a tomato. The tomato is going to add a little different flavor to it, and it also adds a very nice color variation to that. And we're going to turn them right over. These cook very quickly. The nice thing about the legs is that even though they are, we're using different muscles here together, they're fairly small, and they are fairly uniform, that they're in the same size. Now, if you have the frog legs, and you're just preparing them just for yourself, you can just remove them from the pan. So we have them pulled over, and they're going to cook there, but now I have all the oil right here that I can get to. So they're still cooking, and I can make the sauce over on the other side of the pan. And all we have to do for that is put some of the garlic in there. And we're going to let that garlic cook just till it browns. There's the flavor of the garlic will be very different if we were to use it right now. And when it browns, it will be very different. However, if we overdo it, the garlic will become bitter. So I'm watching that, and just as it begins to turn brown, like it's doing now, I'm getting the tomato, and in it goes. Now, the reason I do that, you can hear that cooking away, is so that that will arrest the cooking process and stop the garlic from browning. So we have them all together. We're going to just toss them around. You can see the legs have browned up very nicely. And we're going to put a little white wine on that. Now, whenever you're cooking with wine and you're over an open fire, remove it from the fire, add the wine to it, and then return it back to the fire. All right, so we have our Provençal all set to go, and we're going to remove them from the fire now and let them finish right in that pan until it's time for service. And while we're waiting for those, I want to show you how to set up our next recipe for frog legs, and this is meunière. And all we have to do for the frog legs is set them up with basically the same ingredients, except that we're using lemon other than all the other ingredients. And we're going to prepare our legs in just about the same way. We're going to take 4 of the legs and we're going to put them in the milk, and then we're going to, we've let them soak a little bit, and then we're going to dredge them in flour and we're going to saute them. Then we're going to remove these from the pan because this dish calls for a brown butter sauce with the lemon and the white wine. And we're going to serve this one on the toast points. So we're ready to go. We're going to put a little bit of the oil in there to saute them off. And you can see we don't have as much in this pan as we did in the first pan. So we have that, and our legs come out, and we're going to put them right in the flour, and then they're going to go right into the pan. Okay, and I'm going to move them right over here. We just want to coat these with flour, just enough. There we go, and in they go. Now this is going to be served with a browned butter, so we want these to brown up just a little bit. So that's the other reason we have very little fat in there. This will give these a chance to brown right up. Okay, now we're going to shake them and let them cook just a minute. We're going to season them. A little bit of salt and pepper on them. And now we're going to turn those legs over. Now, if you're not comfortable using a fork, a pair of tongs is very nice. Gives you an easier way to get right in there and get a hold of them right where you want so that you don't break them apart. So we got them all turned. You can see that they're browning very nicely. And now, once we brown the other side, these legs could be removed and held in an oven while we prepared their sauce. But since I have the size of the pan is with me today, we just set the legs up out of the way. So they're removed out of the pan. And we've taken away, all the oil has been absorbed. And now we're going to take and put some butter in that pan. And we're going to stir the butter around. And as that butter comes up and foams once, we're going to add a little bit of the lemon juice to that. And we'll knock a couple seeds out. You can see how nice that's foaming up. And we're getting a lot of the color off of the bottom of the pan. Okay, that butter is foamed up once. And just as it stops, now we can add our lemon to it. And then we're going to put the white wine in there. And once again, we're working with a fire, so we're going to back that off, put the wine in it, and then return that to the fire. And we're going to add just a little bit of parsley to that to give that a nice color. So they're ready. Now we're going to return them to the sauce, and you see how easy that is. We just roll them right back in there, and they're right in the sauce. So there's our brown butter and lemon frog legs, and they're all set. So now we want to show you our serving of the choke that's going to go with these. So let's switch these guys around, and I'll set him right there. And all we're going to do to set up service for an artichoke is to just take a little bit of the butter, and we're going to take some of the olive oil, a little bit of each, and all you have to do is just put that right in a pan. And we're going to put just a pinch of pepper in there, and I'm using white pepper. If you think that we're telling you we're putting stuff in there and you can't see it, the white pepper is a little hard to see. And then we're going to put the last of that garlic right in there, because these go very good with the garlic. They're going to bring out that very, very light flavor of the artichoke. So we're going to shake that around, and we're going to put a pinch of parsley to that. And we're just going to heat that up, and that's going to be an entirely different flavor than the garlic that we browned. All right, so now to set up our artichoke, we can take a saucer's nice, and we're going to just turn one of those chokes over, let all the liquid out of it, stand him up, and he comes over to the board. Okay, that's bubbled up nicely, so now we're going to shut that off. And we're going to plate up all of our dishes for you so you can see how they look when you're ready to serve them. The frog legs, the first ones that we did, are Provençal, and all we have to do with those is lay the legs just like that. And what I'm doing with these is laying one every other way. And then I'm going to take those tomatoes, and we're going to just put them right next to it. Because this is very, very strong in the amount that we have with the garlic to it. So it's a very, very strong sauce to it. And that goes right over top of it. I said strong in the flavor. We don't want to hide the legs at all. Now the lemon butter, or the Meunier, we're going to lay on a toast point. And all that is 2 slices of toast that have been trimmed, and we just lay the legs right in there. And these we're going to lay, let's crisscross them. We'll lay them upside down from the way we look, and they'll go just like that. And remember, this is only a butter sauce. This one is raw butter that's been melted, so that we don't want this sauce to run away, so we put them just like that. And the toast is going to absorb that. We have that just like that. And we just put our sauce right over it. So we're going to review for you what we did today. We started you off with a fresh artichoke, and all you needed was the artichokes and water and milk, salt and pepper. And all we did with those was trimmed off the tops and the bottoms, and then we put them into the hot water. And as we're going to show you, you can enjoy them with either the butter or just tear them apart and have them with a nice hollandaise sauce or mayonnaise. And if you're not going to eat them that way, you can remove the chokes and then have them like that. Our frog legs Provençal, which is a classical preparation of the legs, is done with frog legs, flour, oil, garlic. We added the tomatoes, optional today, white wine, salt, and pepper. And we cut the legs in half, put them in some milk, and then we floured them, sauteed them till they were done, or nice and brown and crispy on the outside. And the garlic butter and the lemon butter frog legs were frog legs Meunier. We set them up the same way, just that we browned the butter and added some lemon to them. And here's our dishes all prepared. One is on the toast points. Both of them are with an artichoke. I'm sure you're going to enjoy them because the preparation, although the dish is unusual, is very easy. Thank you.